what William has just given us an update on the employment opportunities that are out there. Don't be satisfied, I think is what you're saying. Don't be willing to accept mediocrity when you think you can go beyond that. Here's the problem that I ran into during corporate. And I left corporate in '84 because I couldn't deal with it anymore. But here's what I found is, you talked about this RAS, and I have read some things about it, and it's a very interesting thing. Almost every manager that I worked for in corporate America had evidently had a RAS-ectomy. Because they didn't think anything I had to say was important. And so I really struggle with the idea. What I'd like you to do is bring it down to our level. I mean, you cited some incredible cases, Oprah and Branson and people that we all recognize. But isn't there, if we don't have limitless money, as almost all of your examples, who I know had to build up to that, but if you look at it as an individual performer in the world of project management, what's the cost to us? I mean, we can't buy branding. We can't spend the hundreds of millions of dollars that Coke spends. What's the cost for us to brand ourselves?
Yeah, the cost is really, it's a mental cost. There is no, you have to ask yourself, once you know what makes you exceptional and what's going to add value to your team that you manage, you need to ask yourself, with every single thing I do, how do I rethink it such that I'm injecting my brand into it? I talked to you about Brandy, and the agenda that she has for a meeting looks very different from anybody else's agenda. When she has a conference call, it is run completely differently because it's consistent with her brand. So what you really need to do is give yourself permission to go back and rethink everything you do as a team leader, when you're providing reward and recognition to your team members, when you're communicating to the team, when you're resourcing talent, all those things that project managers do, you need to rethink them and say, now that I know that this is what makes me exceptional, how do I change the way that I do that such that everyone's going to start to recognize who I am in this process?
Okay, how do you fight the perception of selfishness among the other team members when it appears that everything's about you?
Yeah, great question. And by the way, it's not about you. It's about driving value for your team in a way that leverages what makes you exceptional. And that's a key point. Branding is not, hey, look at me, I'm incredible. Branding is, now that I know how I'm incredible, how do I deliver value for those around me, right? How do I reward and recognize people? How do I acknowledge the incredible talents on my team? And so forth. So again, it's not about you, but it becomes about you because everyone sees this incredible, consistent delivery and value that you're delivering every single day. And everyone starts to build your brand for you because they know what makes you exceptional.
Okay, so from the project management perspective, you would say that it goes beyond just passing the PMP exam?
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's what we talked about, this competence, right? There are table stakes that get you into the game. What are those things that are going to make somebody consider you to lead a team, right? And everyone's going to have those. Every project manager has to have those to be considered. What you need to layer on top of that is the things that make you exceptional. And this goes back to, you've got to be competent, you have to have passed all the right exams, you have to have all the right credentials, but it's way beyond that. It's now, what do I layer on top of that where I get to infuse who I am into this? Because by the way, when you're doing this, when you're aligning who you are with what you do and how you do it, you are energized, you are powerful, you're magnificent because you're using every ounce of energy in a way that's constructive. And that's the power in personal branding.
Okay, what about the naivete that exists with the senior level people who are under incredible pressures, economic pressures, those kinds of things, to get more done than we physically have resources to accomplish them? And my job, from a personal branding standpoint, is to prove that I'm a professional, I'm ethical, and I do all the right things. So my job is to deliver truth to the decision maker, which says, this project should have never been done in the first place. It's going south next week, knowing that that's not going to be received with wonderful open arms about, gee, that's a wonderful branding process, Lee, but get her done.
It's a great question. But by the way, one thing, I've told you that all strong brands are unique. One thing all strong brands have in common is an incredible ability to communicate. And part of communicating, one of the most critical pieces, is being able to communicate in a way where your communication can be received by the person that you're delivering it to. So just by having a strong brand, you stand out, but you don't add value to your manager who needs to receive information a certain way. So if you need to deliver that information that this project is, it's over budget and we're just completely off course, you need to be so skilled at communications that you're able to deliver it in a way that that person can not only receive it, but hopefully take your recommendations and act on them.
So we learned that as parents, that when we spank our children, we tell them it hurts us more than it does them. Is that
I'm
sort of?
I'm not going to get into a spanking children conversation. This could only, especially since we're being videotaped. I'm completely against that.
Yes, of course. I was too. Now it's just a timeout. Oh, that works. So basically what you're saying is no matter where you are in the hierarchy of things, because oftentimes we in project management feel as though we're pond scum in the hierarchy, we can make a difference by doing what we feel we do better than anybody else and making that add value to the organizational environment that we're in. Is that the point?
Exactly. You got to solve both of those simultaneously. Here's what I do incredibly well, and here's how I use that to deliver greater value to the organization. And when you can connect them, that's the sweet spot.
Tempered by the understanding that that could mean that I have to change my job.
Absolutely.
Okay, and be willing to do that.
And we are in a world now where it's much easier to do that. And it's not only easy, I think it's expected within the corporate environment. And you could probably find a place, once you're clear about your brand, you can find a place within the organization that you're working in where your brand is going to have more value than maybe where it is right now. And so self-awareness is, sometimes it creates these questions. Should I be doing what I'm doing? And if not, what should I be doing?
Very nice. I must say, I'm going to conclude because I know we're running tight on time as usual. This perhaps, again, I've mentioned to you that I've been to thousands of these things, may have been the most strongly positioned presentation in terms of affecting your career and your potential for growth that I've been exposed to. I thank you very much, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.